Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen for another Tasty Tuesday. And today I'm taking you to Taiwan, an island off of the mainland of China. If you don't know about Taiwan, they do not consider themselves Chinese. They consider themselves their own independent country, although they are not recognized as a country by the United Nations. China still considers them part of the Chinese territory. It was very interesting going to Taiwan and learning so much about their history and their patriotism as Taiwanese. One of the things we did in Taiwan was one of our favorite food tours we've ever done. I also took a cooking class there that was really fabulous. But we did probably, I don't know, I can list about 3 food tours that I would call my favorite. And the one in Taipei, Taiwan is included in that top 3. One of the things we had there was a scallion pancake. In Chinese, it's called a kong yu bin. And it's a very simple pancake cooked very thin on a hot griddle. And we had it at a market where they cooked it right in front of us, handed it to us, actually kind of cut it up pizza slice size, and it was heavenly. Now I've never made it, so we're gonna give it a try today and see if I can pull this off. So we are starting here with 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and in here I have a half teaspoon of salt. I am adding to that some very hot water, almost boiling. I hope it's not too hot to get my hands in, because we are gonna mix this with our hands. Oh yeah, it's pretty hot. I might start with a spoon. All right, let me mix it a little bit with a spoon, and then it'll cool down and I'll get my hands in there. So in my Taiwanese cooking class, is where I learned to make Chinese dumplings. And I've always thought I should try to make those for a Tasty Tuesday. It's kind of complicated, and I've actually never felt like I could tackle it for Tasty Tuesday, but maybe I will someday. But this dish, it's not hard, although you do need to let the dough set and rise for about 30 minutes. So now I can get my hands in there. As you're mixing this dough, if you feel like you need a little bit more water, only add it about a teaspoon at a time, because it's, you really don't want it to be too wet. All right, I do think I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Oh yeah, that should do it. Okay, this dough smells really nice, and the texture and consistency is just right. So I am going to cover this bowl now with a wet cloth, set it aside, and let it rise for about 30 minutes. And then while that's happening, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna make the sauce. So while our dough is resting, I'm going to show you how to make the sauce. This is very similar sauce to something you might have dipped dumplings into. So we are starting with 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And we have 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. This is 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And that's pretty thick, and I don't want to waste any of that beautiful flavor. Then we have 1 minced garlic clove and a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper and 1 tablespoon of minced scallions. I have minced a whole what do you call it? A head of scallions? I don't even know. Some people call them green onions. Scallions depends on where you are, but I did the whole package and I took 1 tablespoon out of that. We're going to use that in the pancakes. So that is our sauce, and I'm just going to stir it up a little bit, and we will serve it alongside the pancakes. We'll let it sit on the countertop for the next 20 minutes or so until it's time to eat, and let those flavors meld together. So now we'll get the dough ready for the pancakes. We let our dough rest for 30 minutes, and then I took the ball and I broke it into 4 smaller pieces, all about the same size. And now I'm going to work them on my cutting board, and that involves first just my hands, and then we're gonna get the rolling pin out. So the first thing I wanna do is just kind of flatten it out as best I can. You've got a little bit of flour here on the surface, and I'm gonna get it just a little bit rounded, and because we are gonna add the scallions. Oh, and by the way, it's a bunch. It's called a bunch, not a head. A bunch of green onions, or a bunch of scallions. Man, that just flew right out of my brain. I couldn't remember what that was all about. So let's just get this into a nice little disc size, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it's not completely round, but that doesn't really matter. It's still warm from the hot water. So now I am going to take about 1/4 of my scallions, sprinkle them here, and I'm going to roll it up kind of like a taco, and then I'm going to turn it into kind of like a cinnamon roll. Okay? See what it looks like? Now I'm going to squish it down again. And here's where I'm going to add just a tiny bit of vegetable oil with my pastry brush. And I'm put a little bit more flour on my cutting board. And now I'm going to use my rolling pin. So the one we had in the market was big. It was really big, and it was cooked on a really big griddle, and we watched her cook it. I'm going to actually attempt to use my Lefse grill, if you know what that is. I'll show you in a minute, and see if I can make a big one of these. Lefse is something I should do for Tasty Tuesdays someday. Lefse is hard though, it's really hard. My mom is the world's best lefse maker. So maybe I'll have Mom over and we'll do that for Tasty Tuesday sometime. She doesn't do it all that often anymore. She's 83 years old. But boy, oh boy, was that a treat at Christmas time when I was a kid. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on this and get back to you in just a minute. So our scallion pancakes I'm doing on my Lefse griddle, and I didn't get them quite as thin as I had hoped, but I still think they're gonna be delicious. And you can see I had it about 2 minutes on that side. I'll cook it another 2 minutes on this side. And I have the griddle at about 350 degrees. So then I'll show you how we serve it. That is our beautiful scallion pancake. We're just going to sit down and have this with some stir-fried veg, tear off pieces, dip it into our sauce. Super simple, hands-on meal. Got another one cooking here. We're each gonna have 2 from Taiwan, scallion pancakes. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.